Hey, I'm Blake Talabis, and you are watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press today. I'm happy to be joined by Blake Talabis. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm so excited to dive into the next step, season 9, with you. But to start off, tell me about your background in the arts and in dance and what sparked that passion in you to pursue this as a career.
It started really early for me. Like, I kind of always knew I wanted to act. It started with acting, and it was actually it was High School Musical, honestly, one of my favorite movies. But I'm into sports as well, and I like the singing and the dancing, and I don't know, Troy Bolton just felt like the perfect mixture of who I am, and I don't know, I guess I just resonated with that. So that character really got me into the whole idea of like acting at a really young age, and then it was actually my sister. I have an older sister, and she started dancing before me, and I don't know, I guess I just kind of wanted to like follow in her footsteps. Yeah, I guess I just kind of latched on to her love of dancing too, and at a young age. And then, yeah, I kind of just took off from there.
So shout out to your sister, it's Lauren, right?
Lauren, yeah, shout out to Lauren. And also, hold on, I'm so sorry, unprofessional. My laptop's about to die. Can I grab a charger?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I should have figured this out. I thought I charged it overnight. Anyway, okay, I'll be right back.
So you also sing and play the piano, like you mentioned, music. So do you still exercise your musical talents?
Yeah, I mean, if you count karaoke as like musical talents, then I think so, yeah. I still every now and again just we have a piano downstairs in our house, and it's just like an electric piano. I used to take lessons, so that's kind of how I started, but sometimes when I'm bored, I just like go around and play on the keys and stuff. You never really lose the chord structure because it's fairly simple, and then you just kind of add your own flair to it. But yeah, like I still audition for singing roles if there's a description they're looking for a singer. Like I can still sing. Maybe not as good as I once could, but I can still hold the tune, I suppose.
Tell me about like that High School Musical love. Like, which was your favorite movie? Which is the song that is continuously stuck in your head to this day?
Yeah, well, I think it did start with the whole I love sports and I also love theater and acting and all this stuff. So it started from that. And like I said, Zac Efron's character was like the perfect combination of both. I think I don't know. One is such a classic. I literally watched one on the plane home from Florida like 2 days ago. So I think my favorite is two, however, and my favorite song is definitely, oh my gosh, the breakup song between
Gotta
Gabrielle.
go my own way.
Gotta go my own way.
Oh my
100.
gosh, I love that one too.
It's so like it's just a favorite of mine because I don't know, it's so emotional and it's like it can be relatable and sometimes like I don't know, it's so good. The performance is great and like Zac Efron, it's his voice in that movie too, so it makes it even better. Like I don't know, I like that one a lot.
Fair, fair. That's a good pick. I was watching some old videos of you performing online. There was like Whitby Idol, different recitals, like
Yeah,
home recorded videos, and you had a nice voice. I mean, there's a little Gavin DeGraw, One Direction, Harry Styles. Were these the
yeah,
kind of artists that you listened to like 5 or so years ago in your formative years there?
yeah. I was a big One Direction fan too. Like I won't even lie about that. I went to two of their concerts. I still listen to Harry Styles and Niall and all those guys. And then yeah, Gavin DeGraw was I think I might have sang that one for a wedding or something. But yeah, like that kind of like poppy kind of ballady people I tend to resonate with. Obviously, Bruno Mars is one of my favorite artists because of the he's Filipino, so that's a big reason why I love him. Obviously, he's super talented. But yeah, like the ballady kind of softer artist that can I don't know have a music that's yeah softer. I guess I tend to like to sing their songs.
Did you ever consider like making your own music and writing your own music, or was it always kind of just like, oh, I like this as a passion, as a hobby, but obviously you also had like the dance and the acting to focus on?
Well, I started with I think I started with music actually. It was the first thing I did like in the art in this industry. It was music. And then I went to dance and then I went to acting. So I think anyone starting in music, like you take lessons and then you get to a certain age where you're kind of like, okay, what do I do now? So it definitely crossed my mind, and I have like a couple songs that I wrote so long ago that I've never even like tried to write good lyrics or chord progressions that make sense, but it definitely crossed my mind, but it was never a real reality for me, no.
I mean, never say never. Like you said, you still have the chord progressions with piano. In terms of dance and film, what professional training do you have in these areas?
Yeah, so I'll start with film. I took acting. I've done acting classes at a couple different places. I can't even remember, but Armstrong Studios in Toronto is one that is near and dear to my heart. They have very good people over there. And then on the dance side, I trained like my competitive life most recently at a studio called Hoofers, which is in Oshawa. Again, so much love for everyone over there. They taught me a lot about just like being in the industry and thinking about what's next for me as a dancer. And then I've done like workshops, tons of different workshops, like we all do through the workshop scene in competitive dance. And then I'm with a company right now called Opus. We're like a contemporary company. We're on a little bit of a hiatus now. Our leader, Miss Ashley Schofield, is has a lot of like fun personal things going on right now. And again, I love her to death. I can talk about her for ages. But yeah, so I'm with a contemporary group called Opus, and that's really fun as well. And yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's it.
It's always really cool to kind of come back to the people and places that, help shape you and your skill set. You mentioned being Filipino, so can I ask a bit about that cultural background and how it shaped you and your identity?
Yeah, absolutely. So I really resonate with my Filipino side. I'm also Polish as well, and I resonate with that side a lot as well, but they're very distinctly different. So my Filipino side, we have a really big family here. Super big. We get together all the time. We have family get-togethers and we eat and we sing and laugh and all the fun stuff. It's something that I know a lot of people and families just don't have like that big strong family that you can always rely on, so I'm like super grateful that I've had that. And then yeah, I just think like the Filipinos are always very, I mean, I'm generalizing here, but we're kind of very artistic. Like a lot of us, there's like the joke that every Filipino can sing and all of this kind of thing, right? So I feel like it might have been just like my birthright to try and do something in the industry, but yeah, it's definitely a part of my life that I'm super proud of.
Have you been back to the Philippines with your family as well?
No, okay. Insider information. I'm pretty sure we're planning a trip for December, like this December coming up, because you gotta plan it on the right times, or else you'll hit hurricane season or typhoon season. But yeah, so we are planning a trip going back. I need to. I haven't yet, but it's definitely gonna happen in the near future for sure.
That will probably be such a like rich and rewarding, fulfilling trip for you to go back there and experience it firsthand. And I'm guessing I know the answer to this question, but was your family always supportive of this path for you as an artist?
Yeah, and it was actually so I started at I started like you know how we all do a sport or whoever you have like your extracurricular and at a young age. So besides the music, I started in karate, and I did karate for a couple years, and then it was my dad actually when I switched because my sister did dance. I was like, oh, let me do that. He was the first person to be like, oh my goodness, yeah, get him in there. That sounds awesome. Because there's it's better now, but there's definitely a stigma around like men in dance and boys in dance, and like some parents can have really negative opinions on it, and my dad was super positive about it. Like he was genuinely excited for me to start dancing, and I'll never forget that. Like his reaction was so overtly positive and excited for me. So I'm forever grateful for that as well.
That's so sweet because like you mentioned, it's getting better, but I'm sure before when you first started out, there was a bit more of a stigma. So I'm sure to see, your dad there for all your recitals and
Yeah.
performances as well, just like amped up that excitement and that will for you to want to do good. I want to talk about the Umbrella Academy where you starred as young Diego Hargreaves. So tell me about the impact this role has had on your career.
Yeah, it's just insane. I try to like figure out what to say when people ask me this question, even family members and whoever. it's just wild because it was my first principal reoccurring role and it was such a big project, right? And obviously when I auditioned for it, I didn't really know much about it. And it's funny, my audition process was kind of I thought it didn't go well. I went into the audition room. This is before self-tapes. Self-tapes were still exist, but it was a while ago. But I go into the audition room, I do the scene once, and they're like, okay, thank you. And I walk out of the room and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like this seemed like a cool role. I got to play a superhero. That's so cool. I've always wanted to play a superhero, and I bombed it. And then I got the gig. And yeah, it's such an amazing group of people over there. The cast, the writing, the production team, everything about it's great. And it just taught me a lot about how a show should be run and like the professionalism behind it. And it also just gave me like my into the industry experience wise because I got to learn a lot, not just in my own scenes, but watching the older cast do their thing, like the production, the grips, everything, and even like the rest of the younger cast. We all have different ways we go about our scenes and stuff. So that experience I will never take for granted.
What did you love about playing your character and being a part of this superhero world?
So many things. Like I love. I'm a big Marvel fan. I used to watch Power Rangers growing up, so that was another goal of mine. It was like I wanted to play a superhero. My first big role I got to do that was insane. So I think what I love the most is I this might be kind of silly, but I got to carry around knives. Uh, so I had like these prop knives all around me. I was like strapped up in this cool mission suit all the time, and I don't know. I think that was the coolest part was just being able to feel like a genuine superhero because I had the gear, we had the mask, like it was just you felt like you were actually about to save the world. So I think that was definitely one of the coolest parts for sure.
Anytime you're like putting on like a mask and a costume, and it just adds so much to your character and makes you feel like, you know, maybe a bit more invincible than you would on an everyday basis. I know that the fourth and final season's premiering August 8th. So have you kept up with the series and what's been going on?
Yes, I have. I'm excited for the fourth season. I'm sure it'll be just as good as the other three. And yeah, like I think they have like a bunch of timelines they gotta wrap up and like certain branching storylines that they gotta tie up for this last season. But yeah, no, I'm excited for it. It should be really good and exciting. And the trailer just dropped like a couple days ago. So there you go.
Yeah, definitely getting people amped up. And something that's really cool is I know you are still friends with the young cast with Dante, Eden, Ethan, Cameron, and TJ. So tell me about the enduring friendship that you have with this group and how you've managed to stay connected over the years.
Yeah, they're the best. They're genuinely the best. And it was nice because we clicked immediately on set. So there was no real hashing out we had to do. We kind of just all got in there and all really liked each other. And then as we got older, obviously it's hard to get everyone's schedule lined up, but when we can, I think it's just about one of us reaches out and is like, "Hey, do you want to, are you guys in town? I'm in town. Let's just go see a movie or let's go like grab dinner." And yeah, and actually me, Ethan, and Eden all go to TMU in Toronto. So like I've seen them around campus a lot, and then I saw Dante at a concert. Yeah, so like we kind of cross paths a lot more than you would think, but when we can get all together, I think it's just about remembering that like really fun time we had on set together, and it's like we want to keep that going for as long as we can. So yeah.
And it's really cool that the show, obviously, which filmed in Toronto, casted some local actors to be a part of it as well and giving you that additional opportunity.
No, absolutely. And I think the casting in general was phenomenal for this show. Like have I can say so many good things about the show, but the casting in particular is so on point. And yeah, like I'm just outside of Toronto. I think TJ's in Hamilton, which is a couple hours outside of Toronto, and then like everyone else is kind of scattered. But yeah, it's nice that we got like some homegrown talent in here to on such a big production. So yeah, it's a really cool.
We will get into the next step now, but I will note to all those watching that we are discussing spoilers, so please make sure you have finished up to the end of season 9 before continuing this interview. I know it has been some time, but when you joined for season 8, do you remember anything about your audition process and what you were initially told about Anthony or who he could be?
Yeah, so I have auditioned for the next step a million times. And I don't know if I know you talked to Emily. I don't know if she said the same thing, but I auditioned for like three, four, or five times. But this recent audition for season 8 was especially weird because it was still during COVID times when COVID was really big. So we had a in-person dance audition. They started with the dance audition, and then we were supposed to all get like the callbacks were supposed to be in person again, but dance and acting, and then COVID hit, like the next wave or whatever. So that hit, everything got shut down again. So then we had Zoom auditions. And that was strange because I'm trying to think it might have been my first like Zoom callback. And that was interesting to try and navigate because now I feel like we're all kind of accustomed to Zoom, but Zoom was still kind of new and we kind of didn't really know what this whole online virtual kind of interaction was. But then yeah, I booked the role obviously, which is great. And then I think what did they say about Anthony? I don't know. I think the biggest thing was that he was kind of wanted to be a leader. I think that was kind of what they told me about him just at the very start of everything. And then yeah, his character obviously got more fleshed out as I played it. But yeah.
I think that's really cool because I know that with these characters, a lot of it is kind of maybe shaped based on the actors who play them. So there is really a lot of room to kind of grow and change as, more seasons as it gets renewed. So you mentioned auditioning a bunch of times. What drew you to wanting to be on the next step?
I think I can speak for all of Canadian dancers when I say the next step is like an Canadian heritage in Canada. It's if you're a dancer and you love dance, you 90% know about the next step. So the initial attraction to the project was never not a thing for me. I always knew about it and I was like, if I could ever be on the show, that'd be insane. So I guess once I finally got confirmation that I booked the role, I was like, what the heck? Not only is this a dance role, but it's an acting role too, right? Like, so I got to do like the best of both worlds and combine that, which is, something that you don't really get to do all the time. Like, there isn't a huge amount of combo dance and acting roles out there, and that's like the perfect combination for me. So it was just, yeah, it was just like a match made in heaven for me specifically. Yeah.
Can you share any details that you created yourself or discussed with others as to Anthony's backstory and upbringing? Maybe elements that we don't see on screen over seasons 8 and 9, but ones that kind of helped you shape him.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think one thing that I resonated with Anthony specifically is that like want to fit in. And I think Anthony kind of feels the same way. One of his first scenes in the show is like he says some weird joke or whatever. I don't know. He has a bunch of amazing one-liners, but I think that is something I can really resonate with because even just going on to the set of the next step, it's going on to a new set in general is intimidating, right? Because you don't know people, especially like a show as established as the next step. You wanna hold your own a little bit, right? You don't just want to go in and be a character. Like you want to make sure that you make an impact and that your character can really have a positive impact on the show. So when I stepped in, I was like, I really want to make sure that I like fit in, this character can fit in. So I think Anthony kind of felt the same way when he went to those age group auditions. I feel like he kind of wanted to fit in. And that's how I kind of, made that connection between the two is that just that need and that want to fit in so bad that sometimes, you might say a wrong word or you might mess up, but like your intentions are pure. And I think that's what shines through in both of us, I guess.
I love that. And I was watching some, I think these were scenes that didn't make it into the show, but they were released online. And it was Anthony and Jet trying so hard to fit in. And they were who was it? They were speaking with Izzy and they had thought that they broke their phone.
Oh,
And it
yes.
was and you can see that really earnest, oh, go-getter kind of attitude, but it just kind of falling flat. And they were just so nervous. So I can totally see the parallel about, especially with a new character kind of coming in. So on that note, like in your eyes, what are Anthony's best and most flawed qualities as a person?
Hmm, that's a good question. I feel like his best and most flawed trait might be the same thing. I feel like he's a people pleaser, which I think can go both ways. In the good side, obviously he wants everyone to be happy, and when he gets more of a leadership role, I think he always has the best thing in mind for the team, right? Team first always is something Anthony loves to say, and it's like a mantra and the next step. But on the other side, he kind of gets lost at times with himself. He stops thinking about his own wants and his own desires, and he gets too lost in trying to help everyone else. So that can also be an issue. So I think they kind of go hand in hand.
Definitely. And I feel like as a dance captain, the whole people pleaser aspect, and it's something that I was speaking, yeah, with Emily, and I think Kenzie kind of also had a similar trait, and that's what happens a lot, in those leadership roles. But his team first always, he says that like a lot of times throughout the season, and he impulsively gives all of that solo and then replaces her with Ariana. And I feel like there's another like a bit of impulsiveness as well that comes
Mhm.
with that.
And I think again that definitely comes from him just wanting to do so well, and he has that need I guess to impress people, and that need to also, like I said, do what's best for the team. So they go hand in hand. You try so hard to do what's best for everyone and make everyone happy, but at the same time, that can really bite him in the butt when he doesn't fully realize all the consequences.
Anthony does really come into his own as a leader, as a choreographer this season. So, how was that for you to go on this journey with him finding his place on A Troop?
It was great, and I first learned that Anthony was going to be made dance captain at the beginning of the season. They told me I had a chat with Amy Cole, one of the writers, and she said, "Hey Blake, like I just want to let you know, as of now, Anthony's gonna be dance captain." And when I heard that, I was I almost jumped around in my room, did a whole little dance. Like that is like a monumental moment for me, obviously knowing about the show as a kid, but also being one of the only male dance captains in the history of the show. I think there might be one or two others. I wish I should be able to name them, but I really can't. But that was a really fun moment for me, just as like a male representation in dance, first of all. And then second of all, it just showed that they had trust in me to have like a really impactful and a leadership role in this cast. And this cast is super talented. So the fact that they had faith in me to have such an impactful role is something that I will always cherish. And yeah, it was just a really, really amazing time. And I felt like I learned a lot playing him in season 9. So that was great.
So, on that personal side, like I'm guessing you did learn a lot more about yourself in the process as well, and the capabilities that you have.
Yeah, I think I learned how to take a step back and not take everything so seriously. Not seriously in the fact that my work shouldn't be taken seriously, but getting like pointers and asking for help and being flexible and being like putty so that if something isn't going the way I feel like the character should go and someone gives me a different direction, it's okay. Like that's how these things work, right? The writing team and the directors and the cast all have their different interpretations of what happens, but the best performances come when all three kind of combine and they're synchronized, right? So you put your input in, they put their input in. So I think what I learned the most about myself is that you just gotta like go with the flow sometimes and just have trust in yourself and the people around you because man, like this cast and this writing team and the directors and everyone behind the scenes, like it's a really, really good group. Like it really feels like a family. So you have trust in that and the good performance and what you want from the scene will definitely shine through.
Which was your favorite season 9 scene or dance number to film, be a part of, and why?
Ooh, okay, maybe I'll do both. I think the dance, I'll shout out the Adele and Anthony duet. That's always super fun, and I love Shari. She's the greatest. But I think dance wise, I think I'm gonna say the couch dance. I think it's the mid-season big dance in season 9. I'm a big sitcom guy too, so like we were talking about, oh, it's like Friends, da da da. So that was cute. And that was just like a really fun dance, and it was a really fun day because actually I think a lot of people got hurt that day. I think Carter might have twisted his ankle. I think I like sprained my wrist or something. But other than that, it was actually a really, really fun day. And then scene, ah, okay, there was one scene, I think it got cut from the show, but there's one scene with me and Emily, and I think it was after the small group got a really bad mark. So I felt like it was my fault. Again, the people pleaser or Anthony felt like it was his fault. Again, the people pleaser and Anthony is just, oh no, I did wrong. I need to make up for it. But then we had a really nice scene on the stairs, me and Kenzie, where she just told me that like it was okay and that, it's not about every single thing that goes wrong. You just have to rebound. And I think it got cut, but it was a really, really emotional scene. And yeah, Emily's like the greatest scene partner to work with. So I think that's up there as my favorite scene.
We'll talk a bit more about their relationship later on in the interview, but first off, tell me about the relationship between Anthony and Adele. Like for Anthony, what attracted him to Adele and how did those feelings grow throughout the season?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, Anthony is super quirky and kind of awkward and he doesn't always say the right thing. So I think when Adele and Anthony had their first interaction in the locker room, Anthony like just said something stupid or he was being his normal quirky self and she kind of like received it and gave back some good energy. And for Anthony, I think that was like, what is happening? Like this never happens. Everyone always shoots me down. I don't know why this is going well. So I think for him it was just the realization that, oh, this girl like kind of no, it gets my humor and understands where I'm coming from. And this is something new and exciting. And maybe we can like build a cool relationship off of this because you don't think I'm a loser right off the bat. So there you go.
I love that moment because you mentioned it was kind of like it's an energy thing too, right? Like
Mm.
getting and receiving like that same kind of energy. And he's initially under the impression that sharing his true feelings for her would negatively affect the team. So he's remaining distant. You know, he asks Camille to the pre-internationals welcome party. He's a bit naive when it comes to romance. That's a fair assessment.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Tell me about, his action, his inaction. Like, what is his thought process to justify that? Because he keeps mentioning team first always mentality, but what does he think is going to happen if he tells Adele that he likes her?
I think you said again, the team first is definitely such a big thing that Anthony replays in his head. And I think he's just scared to fully let go of this dance captaincy. He just got it, and it's so precious to him, and anything else that could get in the way of that just isn't what he wants. So his feelings and his, attraction to Adele and all of these things, they are just a factor that can ultimately bring down his dance captaincy, the team's international shot, and let the team and letting the team down and letting Eldon down and letting Kenzie down and letting the rest of A Troop down. So I think it's really just about him not wanting again to let the team down. Team first always is literally what he lives by, and I think that that's just why he just couldn't get those feelings out to Adele in an earlier time.
Definitely, like anything that could disrupt what's going on is something that seems to he needs to have more courage in himself, clearly, what he can handle in his life. I think the funniest moment for me in the season was when he sees Adele leaving the party and he looks over and Jet Olive and Ariana just give him the most intense side eye. How was that for you to film and kind of look over and see that? Because I think it's pretty intimidating, but Anthony had no idea what he did wrong.
Yeah, no, obviously that look was definitely planned. So I must have broke a couple times when they looked at me because it's such a funny bit. And they probably looked at me like that when I said something stupid just on the days off or in rehearsals. So I feel like it wasn't totally new, but yeah, no, it was such a
You're like, I've seen that look from them before.
I've definitely seen that look before. But yeah, it was super funny. It was such a good bit, and they played it really well.
Let's talk about that internationals duet that you gave a little shout out to. How was that to work on and perform? And in filming, like what emotions did you channel leading up to that kiss?
Yeah. So we actually started rehearsals really early on. That was one of the first rehearsals I ever did for season 9. And Shariana, who plays Adele, she's never partnered before. So I partnered a lot, like growing up in dance, all this stuff. I partnered all the time, but Shari never partnered before. So we had to work around that. And then by the end of the season, like she was one of the best partners I worked with. It was so amazing to work with her. And I think the emotions that I had to like channel was just I when I first met Shari, I just saw her passion and her talent. Like she is genuinely one of the most talented people I've ever met. She can sing, she can dance, she can act. She's a professional athlete. Like she can do whatever she wants. She is genuinely a superstar. So I saw that and I was like, this is someone I need to know. Like I'm someone who, if you're passionate and you have a drive to do something, that is something that I can really resonate with. And I like that in a friendship and whatever. So I that was something that I kind of related to Anthony in that Adele kind of also has a drive to, be better and work on things. And then obviously they had this good relationship. So I think the whole season just built onto that moment. And then yeah, the kiss was like it was cool. It was a fun. I've never had an on-screen kiss before, so that was a cool moment for me. And yeah, like again, I just can't say enough good things about Shariana. She's such a good person to work with.
I don't know if this was ever talked about like behind the scenes or if you ever filmed anything, but I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get to see Anthony and Adele kind of talk about the kiss or debrief what happened after the dance. It was kind of just like, oh, that's a nice moment. And you had Olive do that confessional. She was like, they kissed. But was anything ever filmed or
No, there wasn't anything filmed. I assume the two just, I don't know, it was all building to that one moment. So it just kind of all got let out in the most dramatic way possible and the most dramatic next step fashion possible. So I'm sure they talked about it and they had a good little chat about it. But yeah, no, there's nothing filmed. That would have been fun though. You're right. That would have been cool.
is it safe to say that they're officially in a relationship at the end of internationals?
I think so. I think so. I think Anthony did finally let himself open up just a little bit and tied the knot there.
You mentioned Shariana, such a talented top tier athlete, Paralympian as well.
Like what the heck? She's so cool, man. Like if I could be as cool as her, then I'd be living a good life. I'd be living a good life.
Tell me about Anthony standing up to Eldon after his mishaps with age troop. Like for him, how much courage and repeated annoyance did that take? Because he's a pretty even keeled person most of the time.
Yeah, so this was a lot of fun to film with Isaac and me growing up. Eldon was my favorite Next Step character, and I took classes from Isaac and workshops from Isaac. And I remember like we talked on season 8 and 9, and I was like, yeah, like I used to like you were like my idol, I used to look up to you, and like it was so funny to have that connection. So that might have been one of the most genuine things that I had to play on this season. There wasn't a lot I had to really muster myself to believe I was doing because this guy was a really big part of my dance idol. He really was. So it was hard for Anthony to build up that courage to speak up against the person he's looked up to his whole dance career. And I think again what made him do it was the team. He knew that it wasn't good for the team. And again, like the theme of Anthony so far, that's what comes first. So even though this guy is like the most amazing person in his eyes and he can do no wrong, he clearly did do wrong. And Anthony just had to make a decision in his mind to put the team first once again and speak up against his idol.
I really love seeing their kind of butting heads and dynamics and in those episodes. And some of the things that Eldon did, I mean, you just have to shake your head. Like it was so bizarre what he was doing, trying to help them and throw them off at the same time. My favorite dance of the season was the 10-person internationals dance. So how was that specific one to kind of work on and perform, especially with the story behind it as well?
Well, we can shout out Eldon or Isaac once more because he did a bulk of the choreo for that, which was amazing. It was super fun. The final internationals dance is always a blast. Or final dance of the season, however you want to. I guess it's not always internationals, but I had a great time filming it, great time learning it. I was actually I had food poisoning one of the rehearsals, so I again, stuff happens at rehearsals. You just gotta pull through. But yeah, it was super fun to film, and it was a cool concept with the dress and the balloon, and it was just like really immersive, which I think is something that was really, really attractive to me. And yeah, it was just a blast to film. The choreo was great. There's a lot of moving pieces, and yeah, it was a really, really fun dance.
I know that you are all professionals, but for you personally, has it always come really easily or naturally to not only learn the dance part, so hitting the right beats and choreo, but also feeling those emotions while you're performing in your expressions because you're telling a story at the same
Hmm.
time?
The expression part has always been pretty good to me. Pretty easy. I love performing, like we all do. I love performing so much. So whenever I can dance like with my heart and go full on, I love doing that. So that's never really too much of a struggle for me. Learning choreo, however, I can pick up choreo. I've done it enough now where I can confidently say I can go into any room and pick up choreo. Am I the fastest in that room at picking up the choreo? Definitely not. Am I one of the slowest? Probably. But give me one day and I'll know it. I'll know the choreo off by heart. So I may not be the best at it, offer it, but give me some time to think about it and go over it, and I'll know it better than anyone else.
There's that determination and fighting spirit. You're like, I'm gonna get it done, even if it
I'm
takes
gonna
me
get
the
it.
whole day.
Yeah.
Before that final dance, Anthony calls on Kenzie to give that speech to A Troop. So tell me about that gesture and what you think he's really learned from Kenzie across those 2 seasons.
Anthony looks up to Kenzie. I look up to Emily, but Anthony looks up to Kenzie. And I think what he saw there was a true leader because not only did she try and put herself out of the internationals dance, the 10-person dance, not only did she admit she was wrong when she went to try out for Freya's thing instead of working on the dance at hand, she admitted it, right? So she did things that a true leader would do. And then I think Anthony just realized that she's been here. She knows what it's like to go through all of these competitions and the ups and downs and the emotions. So if there's anyone better to do and say a speech before we go on stage, it was her. And it's about delegating, right? That's like what a leader does as well. They delegate. So that was a perfect opportunity for him.
And I'm so sad that we didn't get to see like that deleted scene. I hope they do release it as like a bonus online or something because I think it would have added so much to their relationship. And speaking with Emily, she said she really loved Anthony's arc in season 9. And she said you were very similar in terms of, like checking in on her and things like that. So I can tell that you have a friendship. Like, did you only meet Emily when you joined the show or had you known her prior?
No, I only met at in season 8, and it's the funniest thing. She's probably gonna get mad at me for saying this, but again, I wanted to fit in. I wanted to like everyone to like me. This is Blake speaking. Like Blake wanted that to happen, and I thought like I didn't think she didn't like me or anything, but I just like I didn't ever think we would be as close as we are now. Like I can actually consider her one of my really really good friends, and like season 9 specifically, we just like skyrocketed in friendship. Like that's my girl over there. I think Emily is super talented. I think she is the sweetest person ever. And like I said, she is so talented and so good to work with. Like what she does during the scenes, like her little nuances are really, really, really good. So yeah, I love her. Love her to death.
What are your thoughts on the cliffhanger in terms of the studio owners? Like, what do you think Anthony would say or think?
Yeah, I he's probably freaking out a little bit. He's probably freaking out a little bit as he does internally. I think he's excited in the sense that Eldon has, you know, a bit more say and it's not maybe dance captain related. So maybe like he can kind of get away from the you should look in Adele's eyes for 20 minutes. Like there might be a little more freedom for him in that sense, but I think he's definitely like a little apprehensive about what's next for the studio because I mean, these two people they know what they're doing. They've been at the studio for so long, right? And they've been connected to the studio for so long, but they never owned the studio. So I guess we'll see what Anthony has to do with that. Yeah.
I feel like the character of Nick, like he's just loved dance for so long and he's put so much into the studio, even if he's not like a dance expert or a professional at that. So it would definitely be interesting to see what comes out of that. So I know that season 10 not officially renewed or anything like that, but should it be renewed and you were asked to return, would you come back as a main cast member?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. And like you said, we got to find out what Anthony feels about this new studio ownership. But yeah, no, I would love to. Like I said, the writing team over there is so good and the production team and the cast is wonderful. So I would love to.
Outside of the studio ownership, what more would you like to explore with Anthony and any other specific storylines? Like, what else is there that you really want to be a part of?
That's a really good question. Um, I feel like everything went really well for Anthony this season. He got the girl, internationals, dance captain. Like I feel like everything went really well. So I don't know, maybe like some sort of I think Anthony has to get out of his head about this whole like dance captain and like team first always. I think he has to figure out what he wants a little more. So maybe like discover that side of his emotions that isn't just about people pleasing, but about like Anthony pleasing and what he could do to, you know, become a better person and become more fulfilled in his life and that kind of thing.
How about any other characters?
Ooh, like storylines, you mean? Okay, well, Bree and Grace, that character, I'd love to see if she would come back or just be exiled to the to the depths of the earth. I'd love to see her redemption arc because she's had a couple now, so I don't know. I think Kate's character has obviously Ariana. I think she has like kind of a clean slate now. So I'd like to see what could potentially happen with her. And then I think like Emily and Ben to see like that relationship of Pete and Kenzie to see where they can kind of go from there because they were good and then they were bad and then they were good again. And obviously Pete's grandfather died, so that was such a big emotional hole that was left for him. So kind of trying to see what they have again with a clean slate, kind of see where their relationship goes, and then yeah, I mean, I'd like to see where Adele and Anthony leave off in the next season if we have one.
Is there a specific legacy character that you would love to see return for a season 10?
Ooh. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Um, okay, everyone's been doing this whole James and Riley thing with Adele and Anthony. And hey, I'm not saying we're James and Riley. I'm not saying Adele and Anthony or James and Riley. We can never touch the king and queen of the duets. But I don't know, it'd be super sick if they came back and gave us like a pointer on our duet or something. That'd be super cool. So I think that'd be a number one option.
Would Anthony take it a bit more seriously than Eldon, kind of telling him that this is what James and Riley, because he also just kept name dropping them. And it's like, come on, you can't keep name dropping them and they can't not show up at some
I
point.
know. I feel like if they walked in, Anthony would have like a mini heart attack of excitement because this is the James and Riley that Mr. Eldon has been talking about for the whole of season 9. So they must have something good to say.
Do you think that Anthony could forgive Grace for her actions after he forgave Ariana and Eldon?
I think so. I think so. I think Anthony sees the good in people. I think genuinely he does. and Grace does have good in her. There's no doubt in that. She gets swayed to the evil side, and she has, some internal gripes with the Next Step studio. But I think there is a good person in there, and I think Anthony would see that as well.
Aside from your own storyline, which other specific character or actor, like as a combo in season nine, really impressed you with their arc?
Kate Roman, for sure. For sure. Ariana's arc was so good. She came in, like I think my first scene of season 9 was with her, and she came in, bam, right away, she was business. Like we had a really fun scene. It was the scene where I'm which one was it? I have like my notebook and she comes in, "Oh, dance captain, you're like so good," and blah blah blah. She's like trying to, butter me up before she stabs me in the back kind of thing. But that was super super fun to play in that scene. So I think Kate's arc and her character arc really just went from, kind of you don't really know what she's on about, and then to the height of evil trying to sabotage. And then again, there's that redemption because she has good in her as well, and she realizes that what she did was wrong. So that was a really, really good arc. And then I think you got to give kudos to Ben, who had to play a really tough role in having his grandfather die. Like that's again, that's what's so nice about this show is it's relatable, right? So someone going through loss, like we've all dealt with loss before, and I think Ben did a really good job having to play on that gaping hole that his grandfather left Pete. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Ben as well, and Emily, of course. I think her having to, go through the ups and downs of being the dance captain and then going away to France and then coming back and having to, reconcile with everyone. So yeah, I think those three, along with everyone, everyone did such a good job this season, but those three stand out for me.
I really love how the show has, I think, become a bit more character driven in that sense, in terms of like looking into, I know we don't really see it on screen, but the personal lives and like what you're thinking, especially mentally, like with Kenzie too, she's seen a lot of her friends leave the studio already. So it's kind of like that next step. But yeah, I thought you all did such a tremendous job this season as actors. Tell me about working with the creative team and crew. How has your experience been with this team behind the scenes, and what have you learned?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of people. So we'll start with Amy Wright. She is such a joy. She's a bundle of energy. She's like the sweetest person you'll know. She'll fight for you too. And she's super fun to work with. She choreographs, she like runs I don't even know what her specific title is. She kind of just does everything. She's Amy. She just does everything. But this show's her baby, and she loves the show, and everyone loves Amy. And working with her is just a blast. Like I said, she choreographs, and she'll also like give us pointers on like just like where to be in like dance scenes and how to like best represent ourselves and that kind of thing. And then on the writing side, we have so many good writers. Jad Bran. I'm Brad and Jan, not anyway, that's what it's actually supposed to be. Brad and Jan are two amazing writers who I talk with a lot, and they helped flesh out the character of Anthony specifically this season, and they're so good to talk to, and that's the best thing is that again, that openness and that flexibility, you feel welcome. You can go to their office, you can go to them on set and like, hey, so Anthony says this, like I don't know where it's coming from. Where is it coming from? And they have this mastermind plan where they can connect it to a scene back in season 8 when this happened, and now it connects to there, and that's why he said this. And it's like, dang, that actually makes a lot of sense. And then obviously Amy and Romeo, who are the showrunners and also write for the show, amazing. Always have your back. They I guess like they were the first two people to tell me that I was dance captain season 9. Like I said, a lot of appreciation for them. And again, they're super great to talk to. And Romeo is like the funniest guy ever. And he's Filipino too. So like I got that connection with him, and he fights for his Filipino guys as well. So yeah, the writing team is super, super good.
That's amazing to hear that they're always open to, having that dialogue with you. And if you're not so sure about your character's intentions, that they're there to kind of clear it up and help you understand. What can you say about the season nine cast that you worked with, and what are a couple of your favorite memories from filming with this group?
Oh my gosh.
This could
It-
be on or off set as well.
okay, cool. We're like I said, we're like a family. We really are. I've obviously only been here for a couple years now on the show, but it's so nice to be working and it doesn't feel like work and you're with people who you love and you're with people who you're comfortable with and you're with people who make you laugh. And we laugh all the time on set, maybe a bit too much sometimes, honestly. But working with them is so great, and everyone brings their own talents, and it's super fun to see not only the dancing because everyone's a different dancer. I do contemporary, but Ben is like this hip hop star who not just he does everything. Carter is like someone who I like grew up kind of dancing with just through mutual stuff, and he's like someone who helped me with my solo in season 9, and he's super fun to work with. And then like the newer cast, the younger ones that came in, they're just talented. They're super talented. So it kind of just makes everyone want to be better in the performance side. And then like outside of work, when we're just chilling and hanging out, like I don't know, we have the best time. I'm trying to think of like a specific moment. We've gone out to dinner a couple times, and that's always super fun. I wish I wish I could think of a moment right now. There must be a fun moment, but maybe it'll come to me in a little bit. But yeah, just honestly, we just have the best time, and I think all the moments kind of mush together because it's usually very positive.
That's the one thing I think. It must be so sad when like a cast member leaves at the same time. I know new ones come in at
Um,
all the time too, but it must be so sad because I know it was was it Melody
Melody,
and Brandon.
Brandon.
Yeah.
So I can tell you about Brandon. So Brandon is we have the same agent, so we got season 8 together, and that was like my boy. He was like my guy to like text with, oh, are you here on set? Yeah, okay, yeah, like let's walk in. You know what I mean? Like my comfort before I got super introduced to everyone. He was like my fallback guy. And he still is, like that's my dude. But when he left, like I'm sure you saw, it was emotional. I was a freaking wreck. I don't even know why. Like it wasn't like I'm never gonna see him again, but obviously he left in season 9, and those tears were like real. I was hysterical. Like I've never I don't know what was happening. Like sometimes the scene just brings that out of you, but genuinely I was hysterical, and I look back on it and just laugh, but it made the scene really, really emotional, which I guess is good.
It's almost like you're like, it's so funny because you're like, I can see the guy, like I can see him next week if you if I wanted to, but it's just his character leaving. I mean, that's the connections that you share with your characters too. It's just like you come so close being on the show, like you're
Mhm.
together every day when you're filming, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's like I said, it's like a family over there, and we all fight for each other and we all love each other. So it's good when like that show of sadness just shows like how close we are. So you're right. It's nice to see that.
How about the sets? Like how much has this studio felt like home for you these past couple of years?
Yeah, well, it's even better because it's been the same studio the past 2 years. So it's even felt more familiar, but yeah, I mean, like it's just great. You walk in, you have your your routine. Like you park and you pull up and you say hi to the hair and makeup people and the craft people, and it just seems like it's like going home and like saying hi to your dog and hey sister, how are you? You know what I mean? Like it's just like a routine that you do, and it feels so welcoming. And I don't know why I was stressed in the beginning, like when I first came. I was like, oh, what if I don't fit in? Blah blah blah. But it's a welcoming group, and they're all super nice. So it was really easy to fit in.
Do you all kind of have like your own small dressing room like in the studio?
Yeah, so yeah, we all have like our little spaces. So we have like we people actually do different things. Some people leave their stuff in there, but then we also have like green rooms, which are just, like the little rooms on the side. They have more space. So usually we kind of so whoever gets there first gets the bigger green room, and then you just kind of everyone fights for the scraps. But yeah, no, we always end up in the same green room talking anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
It's not incentive to get there first to get
Yeah,
the
no,
slightly bigger
exactly.
space.
Do that. It's just like who's getting the big chair to nap and who has to nap on like the floor outside. Like it's one of those ones.
There are people napping on the floor though, right? I've seen like vlogs and stuff, and I mean, these are long days sometimes, so you all must get tired at some point.
Yeah, well, it's because it's when you have like the 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. call times and you're in the one scene at the start and then you have like the huge break and you're at the end. It doesn't always happen like that, but sometimes it does. And it can like it's draining. Of course it's draining. Like waking up early is one thing, but the like being on set performing is obviously draining. And so when you have the time to nap, you nap, but then you got to find the spot. And there's definitely been times where I've like napped on a chair, or I've like curled up on like a little sofa that's like meant for two people and you can't lie down on it, but I'm like curled up like this, just trying to be comfortable. So yeah, it kind of is a battlefield in that sense. But like I said, we all have a good time. It's good.
And you have to do what works to get that beauty sleep. But I love it. I love hearing the behind the scenes. As we wrap up the next step, tell me about the fans and the support that they've not only shown you and Anthony, but the rest of that cast and what that's meant to you.
Yeah, I mean, especially for season 9, I was kind of nervous about how they would feel about me being dance captain, but I feel like the whole of season 9 has been really positively received. And with a bunch of new people coming in from season 8, it's just really nice that we have the support of the fans and that they're still watching and that they're still loving the show. And that means so much to everyone involved. So just thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts, but especially mine. We are forever grateful because without you, there is no show. So.
Are you ever hoping that they bring back the next step live and the tours that they've done before? I know it's been on a break. I know COVID probably like wrecked with
Yeah.
maybe some plans, but I know they used to go throughout Canada. They've even been to the UK before where it airs on CBBC.
Oh, absolutely. I would be the first person. Like I'll buy my own plane ticket. I don't care. Like just just get me on a tour. That'd be so fun. Yeah, that's definitely on the bucket list. So fingers crossed. You never know.
I know that you are a Toronto sports fan, so that includes the Toronto Maple Leafs. How long have you been following the team for, and who is your favorite player?
I saw that you were gonna ask me this question. I was like, yes, that's so awesome. Because as artsy and like theatery and all of this side of my world, I'm like just as big of a sports fan. I'm in school for sport media. I've loved sports since I could pretty much walk, and it's from my dad. He's a big Toronto sports fan, so we watch everything. But yeah, the Leafs are like so big in this household. I think my there's a Leaf blanket right there. So my favorite player is Austin Matthews. I think he's my favorite athlete of all time at this point, and soccer is my favorite sport. And I watch like all the Euros and all this stuff going on right now. I love it. And the Copa America, it's amazing. But Austin Matthews is my favorite athlete. Like I love this guy more than anything. It's a little bit insane how much I love Austin Matthews, but yeah, he's just a legend. Just thinking about it makes me smile. Like I don't know what to say.
Is that just his play on the ice or like his style as well? Because he is pretty well known for his style in the
Yeah,
league.
oh my God, like he's one of the whole Maple Leafs team, him, Nylander, they got some style, but Matthews definitely has style. He's like obviously might be the greatest goal scorer ever if he keeps on this pace that he's on. And also he's really good with fans, which I really like. He's really good with the kids and everyone he meets. And like that's something that is not always seen in sports. So the fact that he's like so big and still a role model and is really nice with his fans is super amazing.
So Toronto's having issues going deep in the playoffs. What are their prospects next season, in your opinion?
Oh, we're getting deep. I don't know how much time you can allot to this question. No, I'll be quick. We got a new coach, Craig Berube. I'm excited for that. He's won a Stanley Cup before, so that's good. We got some new defensemen coming in we got a new goalie from the Panthers. They just won the cup. You know, my heart's saying that there's a lot of turnover this year and good turnover. So this is the time for another run. But if I'm being honest with everyone, there is probably, as my mom is coming home and she wants to see me. Okay, hold on, give me 1 second. Anyway, yeah, so tentatively we're gonna win the cup next season, but we'll leave that as that for now, and people can take that what they will.
Could be a controversial take on this one, but Mitch Marner, do you want him to remain a Maple Leaf or are you fine with him walking?
Okay, I love him. He's the Toronto boy, and him and Matthews, that partnership has been so amazing for the last 6, 7 years, and he's done so much for the team. And I'm not against him staying, but I'm probably more on the side of him leaving, even though he's been so good to us. But are you a Vancouver fan, I assume?
Yes, but I
Okay.
do follow like what's going on. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
know like with Mitch Marner, I feel like it's one of those unfortunate things where it is a business at the end of the day, and you're like, maybe you could get someone else in return kind of
Yeah.
thing.
And the thing is, if he goes anywhere else, he might be like the best player in the league. Like he's so talented. He
Think
has
about
that.
Zach Hyman. He left the Leafs and he is killing it with the Oilers.
I know. I can't even. Hey, I can't even. This might be controversial, but I wasn't that sad when they lost. Like if one Canadian team is gonna win it all, I like to break the streak of no Canadian teams winning it. Like I want it to be us. But honestly, I'd be okay with Vancouver winning it. Genuinely, you like next season if y'all want to make a run, y'all did well this year. Go ahead. I'm fine with that. That's okay with me. But yeah, he's gonna go. And if he's not with the Leafs and his contract's up in oh no, I don't I think yeah, next year. Or no, is it next year? Ah, I
I
think
think
it's
it's
next
it's next season, yeah.
year. Yeah,
But he
so
has like a no move or like
yeah,
right
like
now, yeah.
that's Kyle Davis, man. I know a 30 team no move clause. Again, like I said, you can tell I'm passionate about this. I can talk about this forever. I have a soccer podcast that I talk about soccer for like an hour and a half, so I can do anyway. I think we need a change. I think we do. If it's not this year, it'll happen next year because the contracts are up. But like I said, he's an amazing player and he's gonna go somewhere and light it up for whatever team. But yeah.
We'll move on from the Leafs, but I could probably talk about this longer as well. I wanted to talk about DYNMX, which I'm guessing is a play on Dynamics.
Yeah, it's
That's
very
right.
good. Very
Tell
good.
me about this dance collective and your origin story.
Yeah, so this is our agency just kind of wanted a new kind of strand of content creators and dancers who can, promote ourselves and just bring some fresh new content to the platform. And it kind of just started as that. And we got a bunch of different people with different backgrounds, dance backgrounds, styles, and just personalities. And yeah, like we just kind of started out. We had our first show about a month or two ago, I think, and it went really well. Sean Desmond was there, which was awesome. So yeah, I think we're just starting out, but look out for some things from DYNNMX. It's a really good group. It's a really talented group headed by Pyro, who is an amazing choreographer and person to work with. So yeah, shout out to everyone in DYNNMX. We got some good stuff on the way, hopefully.
Did you have to audition to be a part of it, or did they reach out?
No, they reached out. They reached out. So yeah,
That's
even
gotta
though
feel a little good.
yeah, not bad, not bad. Yeah, it was not bad.
I mean, they have such a talented roster of dancers, and it's nice that you kind of were familiar with everyone to kind of have that built-in chemistry. And shout out to Carter, who's also a part of it.
My boy Carter. Yeah, no, we have a good group over there, so it's nice that all those talents can kind of mix together.
How has it been with you and Carter? Because he was also on the show before you, but you've known him for a bit. You
Yeah,
mentioned kind of
so
growing up in the same kind of dance community.
yeah, so again, he's only a couple years older than me, but he's another guy I looked up to a lot just because I just think he's a phenomenal dancer. And he was on the show before me, obviously, but I knew him from auditions and like just workshops and things like that. Like I think the first time I met him, we were talking about this the other day. We were on a gig together, but that wasn't next up related. But I think first time I met him was at the audition for Umbrella Academy. I think that's what we were saying. Something like that. So we met like a while ago. But yeah, that's my boy. And he's again so good to work with. He helped me with my solo on season 9. And he's a joy to work with and he's super talented and he's a funny dude. You sit with that guy and talk to him for a good 10, 20 minutes, like you'll get a lot of laughs out.
Well, I'm excited to see what comes out of DYNMX. I know the performance was it at like the agency's anniversary or birthday show or
Hmm.
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, the anniversary. So that was a good way to top off a good night.
Hopefully you get some more gigs throughout Toronto as well, whether it's like a showcase or like a community event or something like that. Do you have any other upcoming projects that you can share?
Nothing that I can share, unfortunately, but that's the way this industry is, right? It's cutthroat, but we love it. It's so good, and we all love performing. And yeah, I mean, I'm the sure there'll be something in the future, but as of now, no.
You said that you're studying sports media, which I just wanted to ask you about because that's pretty fascinating. So that's a university, that's going to be your major. How's that program going for you?
Really cool, really good. So I have an apartment downtown, which is really nice. So like I get to like live that downtown life and all the food down there. Oh my God, it's just fantastic. Um, but the program itself is really cool. We have a lot of ties to Sportsnet, which is fun. So I mean, it's kind of like a dual thing. Like I can acting is what I want to do, but then if I can like be a commentator, like a sports personality, that's like kind of like acting. No, it seems like acting to me. So yeah, it's really cool, and I like it a lot. And I met like some of my really close friends who aren't obviously in the performance industry, so it's nice that there's like a kind of differentiation between the two.
What's the goal in that major? Is it like maybe broadcasting opportunities?
Yeah, I want to be on air for sure. Like again, it's like the performer in me. I just want to perform so bad no matter what. So I want to be on air. Maybe not like commentating, but like when they cut to the panel, like, oh, this happened and he scored this goal and this was what happened when he scored the goal. I'd do something like that.
Yeah, or like, post-game interviews wouldn't complain about
Yes,
that.
yes.
I
Tyler.
was a big fan. I love Kyle Bukauskas. I think he was related with Sportsnet.
Yes. I love Bukowskis, man. He's a legend. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it seems like you have a very busy plate, so we'll see what comes next for you. I have our signature question. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Oh, I did not know this is coming. This is so interesting. Favorite? Okay, not favorite. Well, if I could be an ice cream flavor, what would I be? Hmm. Okay, I have it. I'd be like a coffee flavored ice cream because I may not be for everyone, but everyone knows about coffee and everyone knows about coffee flavored ice cream, I suppose is a thing. So I'd be coffee flavored ice cream because I may not be for everyone, but at least like everyone knows who I am. You know what I mean?
I love that. That's such a great way to end things off. Thank you so much, Blake, for taking the time to chat. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. I had an amazing time.
Yeah, hopefully we can catch up in the future. But until then, for all those watching, make sure to catch Blake in The Next Step. Season 9 is out now on YTV in Canada and CBBC in the UK. And we will see you next time.